just like I promised you, I'm only having one drink.
He always said it was just one drink. Well, don't worry, just like I promised you, I'm only having one drink. That line was Dean Martin's shield, the perfect joke that covered up a lifetime of pain. But one night, during a live TV broadcast, the mask slipped. The audience laughed at first. Then they stopped, because what they saw wasn't an act. It was a man falling apart right in front of them. Dean Martin had built his career on smooth charm and slurred smiles, the crooner who made being tipsy look classy. He joked about whiskey, he sang about love, and every move seemed effortless. But after losing his son in a plane crash, everything changed. He started drinking for real. That night on live television, he stumbled. His voice cracked, and for the first time, people saw the real man behind the myth. You could feel the tension through the screen. The producers wanted to cut to commercial, but Dean waved them off. His eyes were glassy, his words uncertain. "How'd all these people get in your room?" he joked, trying to find his rhythm, but it wasn't funny anymore. The crowd didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Then he said something that stopped everyone cold. "All seriousness, I feel sorry for you people that don't drink. I mean it. Because when you wake up in the morning, that's as good as you're gonna feel all day." It sounded like a joke, but there was no punchline left. The smile faded, the music kept playing, and the world saw what Dean Martin had been hiding for decades, the pain that no song could drown out. Before he was the king of cool, before the tuxedos and Vegas lights, he was just Dino Paul Crecchetti, born in a cramped two-room apartment above a shoemaker's shop in Steubenville, Ohio. His parents, Italian immigrants Gaetano and Angela, worked themselves to the bone to survive. His father was a barber, making $18 a week. His mother cleaned floors and took in laundry to keep food on the table. There was no running water. They shared an outdoor toilet with 3 other families. The only meals were pasta, bread, and whatever vegetables they could grow. Dino didn't speak English until he was 5. The other kids mocked his accent, calling him names, laughing at his clothes. He stopped going to school in the 10th grade and told his mother, "I need to make money." So at 13, he began delivering bootleg whiskey across the Ohio River, 50 cents a day to sneak illegal bottles into steel towns. By 14, he was running bets for bookies, collecting cash from men who gambled away their paychecks. By 15, he was working in a steel mill, lying about his age just to make $1.25 an hour. It was brutal work, but it taught him something that would never leave him. Easy does it. He had already lived the hard way. He also learned how to fight, literally. He joined underground boxing clubs under the name Kid Crochet. Between 1932 and 1936, he fought 36 matches, broke his nose, shattered his knuckles, and split his lips so badly the scar stayed for life. Every time he smiled, that half-crooked grin carried the memory of pain. Then came the punch that changed everything. During a match in 1936, a blow to the temple knocked him unconscious. He stopped breathing. They revived him 5 minutes later, but he was never the same. The doctor warned him one more hit could kill him, so he quit fighting, and that's when he discovered his real weapon, his voice. At 17, he sang in shady clubs and illegal casinos. He'd deal blackjack in the back and croon to calm gamblers after they lost their paychecks. Mobsters liked him because he was cool under pressure. Federal agents raided the joint twice. He escaped both times through the back alley. By night, he was Dino Martini, a name inspired by the Mills Brothers, whose smooth harmonies he copied note for note. In 1940, Cleveland band leader Sammy Watkins heard him sing and hired him for $200 a week, a small fortune back then. Watkins told him, "Kid, you've got talent, but you need a new name." Dino Crecchetti became Dean Martin. The name sounded American, clean, marketable, and that one change opened the doors that had always been closed to him. He sang across the Midwest, and in 1941, he married his first wife, Betty McDonald. 4 kids, endless tours, and no stability. Dean was never home. The marriage didn't survive, but his career did. Then, one night in 1946, fate walked onto a stage in Atlantic City. A young comedian named Jerry Lewis joined Dean for an unscripted performance. Dean sang, Jerry acted like a maniac, and the audience exploded. Overnight, they were making $5,000 a week, a fortune that catapulted them to Hollywood. Their partnership produced 16 films, television shows, and more laughs than anyone could count. But behind the smiles, Dean was cracking. Jerry loved the spotlight. Dean wanted peace. On July 24, 1956, after a decade together, Dean walked away. He told a reporter, "Jerry's the monkey, I'm the organ grinder." Everyone thought that was the end for him, but just months later, he released Memories Are Made of This, and it shot to #1. Dean Martin, the straight man, was suddenly a solo superstar. By the 1960s, he was earning more than Sinatra, selling millions of records, headlining the Copacabana, and charming America with his lazy drawl. His hit Everybody Loves Somebody knocked the Beatles off the top of the charts in 1964. Even Sinatra couldn't do that. But for Dean, success was never just about fame. He'd grown up in a world where everything could vanish overnight, so he built something real behind the scenes, buying land, investing quietly, building a fortune no one talked about. On stage, he was the lovable drunk, glass in hand, slurring jokes. But offstage, the booze was usually apple juice. It was a gimmick, a wink, a mask. His son Richie later said, "Dad used it to make people relax. He wasn't drunk, he was acting." That illusion became his armor, but in 1987, the act shattered. His son, Dean Paul Martin Jr., died when his Air Force jet crashed into Mount San Gorgonio during a snowstorm. It took 6 days to find the wreckage. Dean never recovered. The man who once joked that drinking was a lifestyle now drank for real, not for laughs, but for silence. When Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr. asked him to join their Together Again tour, Dean tried. The first few shows sold out. The fans cheered, but Dean couldn't do it. He left after a week. They told the press he was sick. The truth was, his heart had stopped years earlier, the night he lost his boy. By the early 1990s, he was a ghost of himself. The cigarettes had taken his lungs, the whiskey had taken his voice, and the grief had taken everything else. He refused treatment when doctors found cancer. He told friends, "I'm just waiting to die." On Christmas morning, 1995, Dean Martin took his last breath in Beverly Hills. He was 78. The Las Vegas Strip dimmed its lights in his honor. Sinatra wept. Jerry Lewis, his old partner and rival, cried on stage when he heard the news. He said, "I lost my brother." At his funeral, there were no grand speeches, just friends, family, and quiet tears. People finally realized the man they thought was drunk all the time wasn't chasing the bottle, he was running from the pain. After his death, the truth came out. Dean had built a secret real estate empire worth millions. The man who joked about sleeping through life had outsmarted Hollywood, invested quietly, and left behind an estate valued at nearly $30 million. His daughter, Deanna, said she didn't know how smart her father was until after he was gone. And that drunk act? Jerry Lewis later confirmed it. It was apple juice. He fooled everyone. He was sober, always in control. That's the irony of Dean Martin's story. The world loved him for being carefree, for making it all look easy. But behind that glass of whiskey was a man who had fought, bled, loved, lost, and still found a way to smile. He made America laugh while quietly living one of its hardest lives. So next time you see that old clip, the one where Dean wobbles, slurs, and raises his glass with that lazy grin, remember, it wasn't always an act. Sometimes, behind